As the Modi government completes 2 years this week, there are mega celebrations that have been planned by the centre to mark this crucial anniversary. It has been 2 years that has seen a mixed bag as far as the government's performance is concerned. There is some to celebrate and many negatives that have been talked about as well. Well, joining us on the program today is one of the key ministers in the union government, someone who is really responsible for a key area or a key focus area for the Prime Minister, that's skill development, Union Minister of State for Skill Development on Entrepreneurship as well as Parliamentary Affairs. Mr. Rajiv Pratap Rudy joins us today. Mr. Rudy, great to have you on the program. On this second anniversary, if I could begin by asking you to list 2 key achievements that you think that the government has been able to fulfill and 2 areas where you think that you've fallen short.
Well, if you are asking overall in the government, I think whether it is the overall economy, when FDIs are flowing in, when the foreign reserves are going up, when the inflation is under control, and the overall infrastructure investment and the government spending is growing, whether it's in the roads or rural sectors or housing or water. I think overall the recipe of the government on the economic front is fantastic, and the results have started showing now. On the other side, when you talk about social inclusion and schemes which have to, whether it's the Mudra Yojana or the Jan Dhan Yojana or as far as Fasal Bima Yojana or for that matter skill development, I think the government is on track, and the biggest achievement on the social or the political social front is that which has been haunting the previous government is there are no charges of corruption, whether it's a department, government, minister or whatsoever. So there's a whole recipe is what the people in this country wanted. So we have taken long leaps. It's a great steps which we have taken, and the Prime Minister is working round the clock, whether in the national front or the international front. The standing of the country is going up. So this, when you talk about...
No, you certainly make a very important point, particularly on corruption. You know, what you said on corruption is something that hits home with a lot of people. But in your honest assessment, you know, if you were just to take a holistic assessment of the last couple of years, where do you honestly believe the government can do better, or where it may have fallen short, where it didn't exactly meet its own expectations and goals?
You see, we were voted to power on huge expectations of the youth, of the women, of the industry, and I think there is not a single front which has been left untouched, whether it's infrastructure, whether it's economy, whether it's industrialization, whether it's investment, whether it's social inclusiveness, whether it's women, whether it's child, whether it's sanitation, cleanliness, whether it's rivers, whether it's skills. We have to in fact grapple to find out where we have not made a headway. International relations, standings with neighbors. You look in any sector, whether it's in the field of environment, it is there. So the idea when you say what are your shortcomings? Shortcomings are the only things which we have to yet achieve our goal. We are on the right track. The leadership of the Prime Minister is there, and almost all the ministries in Government of India and all the ministers are working with a great humility, have a great connect to the people, and we are also keeping the politics of the BJP straight. So all this in a combination is one thing which the people in this country are appreciating. And this is the recipe what we have been talking about, and we have a Prime Minister who is not even chosen to take a leave for a day from office. So the whole message is loud and clear that this government is for the Garib, Kisan, Mazdoor, Naujawan, Berojgar, Divyang. The language of the government is absolutely clear that we are for the people, and we have to meet the expectations, and we are on the right track.
Mr. Rudy, before I get into certain specifics regarding your ministry, let me though ask you about these 2-year anniversary celebrations, because there has been some controversy about the scale of the celebrations as well. You know, whether it is this big cultural program with Amitabh Bachchan's participation on Saturday, or as Arvind Kejriwal has tweeted that he claims 1,000 crores have been spent by the centre on advertisements alone. How would you, respond to that charge that this is a little over the top, this celebration?
No, it's just not the advertisement what we are talking about. It's the work which has been done in reality. It's on the ground what we have done. And what has been done has to be taken to the people for them to assess, react, respond, and give us the marks which we deserve. So it's a part of the political process, and mobilization, what we call, is a public opinion which has to be created, people have to connect and give and come back. People in a particular field may have felt advantaged about a particular action taken by the government. But at the macro view, at the aggregate level, at a spectrum part of it, everyone has to come together to see that the government has almost moved on all fronts. And this thing, a months-long Vikas Parv, which has been planned by the BJP, by the NDA government, and all the political setup and the government in together are going into. So this is a part of the policies of the government. The implementation and the outcome is a part of the whole process, and dissemination of this information is also a very important aspect.
But is it
and this is
worth
what
spending hundreds of crores on advertisements? Is it true that 1,000 crores have been spent on advertising, as Arvind Kejriwal claims?
Well, I do not know Mr. Kejriwal, who has to run a state of Delhi, spends twice that amount in Delhi trying to build himself up. And this is a program for the country which has a budget for more than 10 lakh crores. And this is a small amount which has to be otherwise as a part of the budget. That is approved by the government, that is a budgeted process. And there is a system in the government to put the schemes of the government to the people. So I think let's not engage Mr. Kejriwal. Let him speak what he speaks, because he gets up in the morning and his first...
But you don't think it's too much money to spend hundreds of crores on advertising, or even to list your achievements to the people?
I think number one, all your channels and all should first refrain from taking any advertisements or the newspapers before they actually frame or eulogize on this, that should happen or not happen. I do not know where you get these figures, but if Mr. Kejriwal's figures is what is the facts, then I don't have to respond. And please, for God's sake, do not get Kejriwal in everything in Delhi, because you all are based in Delhi, so everything starts with Kejriwal. There are many more chief ministers in this country whose comments do matter.
Mr. Rudy, what about this controversy regarding Amitabh Bachchan's participation? Do you have a view on that, given his name figuring in these Panama paper leaks?
I've read the papers. I've read the papers today, and I saw one column of it mentioned in some corner of the newspaper. So it could be something very important for you, but I think we cannot dispute Amitabhji's name in any fashion. And those who want to do it have lost politics, have lost their senses. And I do not want to talk about someone whom we all adore, and take this debate to the people and find out what they have to say about the people who talk about Amitabh Bachchan. What to talk of some people in the media or some friends in politics.